to day 7 of 100 days of sewing tips. My name is Lauren. Let's get right into it. Today I want to talk about fabric grain lines. Lauren, fabric is fabric. It's not grain. Well, that's not what I'm talking about, silly. Fabric, specifically woven fabric, when it is woven, is generally made up of 2 threads, your warp and your weft. Your warp is the super long thread, your weft is the shorter threads that go side to side. Do you really have to know these words? Not necessarily. It's good to have in your back pocket. Now, when we are talking about cutting on grain, for the majority of just your casual home sewing, you will want to make sure your grain line is lined up on either the warp or the weft. If you're getting into more precision stuff, corsetry, tailoring, stuff like that, the warp versus the weft does matter in terms of stability and all of that good stuff. The other thing to keep in mind is a lot of times with your directional prints, they will go either in the direction of the warp or the weft. So if you are working on something with a directional fabric, you will want to pay attention to that. Now, when we have a woven fabric with a warp and a weft, we also have something called the bias, which is the 45-degree angle from the warp and the weft. Now, the bias is where a non-stretch fabric will have a little bit of stretch, if any. It's really helpful when you are trying to get things around curves or when you're making bias binding to bind curves. That little bit of bias is going to allow the fabric to flex and curve around those edges. The other thing we can do is purposely cut our fabrics and everything on the bias to get a better drape. You see this a lot with satins and chiffons, is doing bias cut items. Now, it's very finicky. It's very annoying to cut things on the bias. However, it gets you a really, really pretty outcome if you're willing to put up with it. I hope you enjoyed this tip. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.